Hello everyone, this is Christian speaking from Axway, API Gateway Support. Today I will present you a configuration settings referring to the network and what affects API Gateway product. In my representation today I used API Gateway 762 Service Pack 3 having API Manager configured. The question for today is, how important is the hostname resolution for API Gateway? As probably everyone knows, the hostname resolution is the way how operating system and applications that uses network translates the fully qualified domain name, or simply said, the hostname into IP, and then using it for transferring data, communication, and so on and so forth. So it is a translation. Why this is so important for our products? Why this is so important for communication in general between two machines? We can see in certain situations, in certain contexts, in our traces, in the logs of API Gateway, this type of messages. A hostname resolution resolved in 5 seconds. That means that the product took the hostname and translated into an IP and then uses for communication in 5 seconds. From the industry standards point of view and from my point of view also, 5 seconds for this processing and for this operation is big time. And in case that you use a browser console, you may enable debug console in browser, and as you probably are familiar with this waterfall representation, going to the network tab, you may see all the requests, all the responses, and their time during the processing. You may see also in this representation that half of the time of this segment has been taken with the DNS resolution. So when a software is asking to the DNS server to present who is this server.com, and the DNS server is getting back with the information and it took so much time, this could be an issue. I will go back to the first page. Another examples of fully qualified domain name are the well-known public REST repository that is petstore.swagger.io, or other hosts. Okay. What we can do, where can we verify if our server or our communication items, servers, applications benefit of this fully qualified domain name resolution? We have two options. The main option is to use this communication tool existing in also a Windows machine and Linux machines. Typing nslookup and the fully qualified domain name, you will have two outcomes. First, the server.com or your server, it is not recorded, and you will see this message. It is not recorded in the domain name servers. Domain name servers, probably you are aware of this information. Domain name server is the server, a single server in a local area network that is assigned to the task to translate the fully qualified domain name in the IPs and then communicate with other domain name servers in the network and in the internet, and to share this information. nslookup as a tool can be also used, and it can be also providing the address, the IP. Here this IP is masked with letters. It should be the IP here, and in this situation the fully qualified domain name, is it found in domain name server. Of course, nslookup can be used against the IP, so this is the other way that can be used. So here it was used about the hostname, and it can be used against the IP, and in this situation he will provide the name of the server, the fully qualified domain name of the server. So this is the first way, and from my point of view, for let's say mid-size or large area networks or corporate domains or corporate networks, this is the standard way how the fully qualified domain name is translated using the DNS, using the domain name server. There are situations in our activity when we are working in a small local area network, we are working, let's say, home with our laptop, and we do not benefit of this DNS, of the presence of the DNS. And now comes the second way that the hostname resolution can be achieved. So the second way is using the local network configuration file, etc hosts. This file exists also in Windows machine as well as in the Linux machines. In the Linux machine, this is the path, etc. On the Windows machines, the path is Windows System 32 folder and then drivers, etc. This is a sample of etc host file. What this files tells us is the way how a line or a server is correctly defined, because it's very important to be correctly defined. How can be correctly defined? On the first position must be the IP address. On the second position could be fully qualified domain name, but this can exist or not. It is mandatory to have the short hostname or the hostname on the latest position. So this is the right order for this definition. Why this local server, local configuration file is important? I will repeat. In the situation when a DNS server is not available to translate our host names, and we would want to use hostname instead of IPs, we can use this local definition, and in this way our API gateway or our application servers can communicate with another servers easily. Here is the continuation of this file. See, this is the definition of the loop back address 127.0.1 for localhost, some special addresses for IPv6, and so on and so forth. I will present a sample of the etc hosts. So as you can see, this is the local host for 127.0.1. This is the loopback address. It should not be touched by anyone. I commented out the definition of IPv6 of localhost because particularly I am not using I'm not using IPv6 definition with my testing. And then line by line you will see the definition of the host name for each server I use. The first server is this one, saying that this is a backend server. This is the IP. Of course, instead of those letters you have to real IP. This is the fully qualified domain name of my server, and then the host name of the server. On that line, this LDAP server, there is a typo. This one should not exist. So you can append this file to as many host definitions as you wish. In my situation, I use a backend server and a LDAP server. So this also should be an IP, not those letters, should be a real IP. And this is the fully qualified domain of this LDAP server, and then the host name. The next context is how API gateway uses this resolution, this hostname resolution. Why is this important for API gateway? I will show you right now. So these are some simulations. There are some calls. I'll use one. So here you are. I have virtualized the pet store REST application, and I have run a request against this mytestcompany.com server. Actually, the call is this one, and there's an interrogation to the user, get user by name. And as you can see, instead of using the IP, I put, after virtualization, I put the fully qualified domain name of my server, mytestserver.company.com, and the API gateway took this request and forward to petstoreswagger.io, and then it is processed. So, and if I would like to count that, I will be able to see the number of milliseconds of seconds took for this request to be completed. So this is the way how API Gateway uses this hostname resolution. As a recap, I will recommend you to use this tool, nslookup, against the IP of your server or against of the fully qualified domain name of your server or your hostname to see the results. Or in case that you do not benefit of this and you are facing with big times in DNS research or in DNS resolution time, you may benefit of the existence of the local configuration file for network, which is ATC hosts. I will recommend you in your application, in your configuration, in your testing, to avoid using localhost or 127.0.1, the loopback address, when you are configuring endpoints or communication partners, and to use instead the hostname with previous setup or fully qualified domain name, or the safest measure is the IP. So today we have approached how important is the hostname resolution for API Gateway. This is Christian speaking from Axway, API Gateway support. Thank you very much for your time watching this material, and see you next time.